All right. For this module, we're going to talk about is how we can upgrade our life, specifically improving your anxiety through achievable lifestyle changes. Now, when we get this thing started, what we start thinking about is all of the major changes we have to make all at once. The key to this module is remembering that small steps are going to help you climb this mountain. We don't want to tackle all of these things all at once because that's when we get overwhelmed, we get burned out, and we just get back right into this loop of constantly starting and stopping, starting over in ground one, and making it feel like we never get anywhere. So remember, we're going to take a deep breath. We're going to exhale all of that judgment, all of those expectations, and we're going to remember that the first step is remembering that the small steps are going to help us climb this mountain of helping heal through this anxiety. All right, let's get started on upgrading your life. All right, so like I said, lifestyle upgrades, what we fuel the body with, aka our eating habits, have a direct correlation to our anxiety. So the key to this is a balanced diet, keeping your mood steady. What does that mean? So eating a balanced diet is giving your body the right kind of fuel. It's just like a car, it runs better with the right fuel. You're not going to fuel your car with the wrong type of fuel and expect it to run at optimum efficiency. That's just not the way it works, unfortunately. So if your body fuel currently looks like junk food, a lot of sugar, a lot of caffeine, no vegetables, no fruits, a lot of inflammatory oils, those type of things, no wonder why our anxiety spikes, right? Now, here's the thing to remember. You might not even be aware of your diet or what the things look like that you're eating because oftentimes we're not told the right things to eat by the right people. So while I'm not a licensed nutritionist or anything like that, or dietitian, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of what has helped me and what can help you in the beginning parts of your journey. Once we talked about the highs and lows of sugar, that sugar feels good, right? When we first start eating it, it feels great. Those Reese's peanut butter cups, that Halloween candy, it all feels good. But remember, what goes up must come down. Foods and drinks high in sugar can give you that quick energy boost, just like we talked about. But they lead to crashes later on. These ups and downs can make you feel jittery and anxious. It's like riding a roller coaster. The highs are exciting, but the lows, they leave you feeling nervous. They leave you feeling anxious. They crash, right? So remembering that you might be somebody that in the first things in the morning, the first thing you want to do is drink caffeine. That might not be the best start because your brain is trying to go from, what brain wave is it? Trying to go from gamma, theta? I should have this written down, but I don't. And it's trying to gradually work its way into alpha, then beta. And if we instantly open our phone, we drink our coffee, we get that sugar or that caffeine, it's a jolt through this gradual process, which has a tremendous impact, not only on our day, but our anxiety levels to start the day. We want to gradually work ourselves into this. So first thing I would say, we'll get to phone health later, but first thing in the morning, that caffeine is not something I would recommend. Regular meals. We've all heard of hangry, right? So thinking of it this way, sometimes we maybe put off our first meal of the day. I know for instance, somebody like myself, I like to get my movement in first thing in the day before I get any fuel into my body. But making sure that around 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm fueling my body with strawberries, blueberries, protein, organic Greek yogurt, those type of things, because what I'm fueling my body with is setting the tone for the remainder of the day. And then periodically throughout the day, you want to continue fueling your body because we don't want to go into depletion. And then all of a sudden, that hanger effect, right? We start getting irritable. We start getting anxious. You're going to start noticing these things. So something I can recommend right now, notice before changing anything, just notice when you start to feel hangry. Just notice when that anxiety starts to spike and ask yourself, have I eaten anything of nutrition recently? Have I had myself a little pick-me-up of a snack? That can be, once again, something that has protein in it, something that has whole grains in it, something that fuels your body. It doesn't just feed your mouth, right? The sugar. Because skipping meals or waiting too long to eat them make you feel irritable or stressed. I know you know that feeling because we all have experienced it. Once again, you've heard the term hangry. So if you eat regular meals, that's going to help with regulate your blood sugar. So it's going to help them stay steady, which can help your mood and even reduce your anxiety. One thing to remember is anxiety is not the enemy here. I know when you're having a course on demystifying it or healing it, it also often makes it feel like it is the enemy. It's the opposing force. Something we need to become very, very aware of is we're never going to eliminate anxiety completely because it's a survival mechanism. We all have it. We all need it to survive. We just have an unhealthy relationship with it. It has to shake us. It has to be incredibly loud because we don't want to pay attention to it. And when it does speak to us, we try to ignore it. We try to force it on out of there. What we're trying to do here is help build a relationship with it. So when anxiety does kick in, it's more of an alert instead of a debilitating mood or moment, right? Something to remember right at the bottom here is everybody's body is different. So what works for one person, for instance, me, might not work for you. So it's always a good idea to listen to your body and maybe even talk to your nutritionist or doctor. I highly recommend that. Because when you talk about what kind of diet is best for you, especially when dealing with anxiety, it's going to help cater to your specific needs, not just looking at a how-to video on YouTube or an online course like this and thinking it's a one plan fits all. This is really about a discovery process of what works best for you. So utilizing the different resources, like I said, I'm a certified mental health coach that helps people through this. It's not preaching, or doctors not preaching what they do. It's about what finding works best for you. Moving on over to the dreaded movement/anxiety exercise, not anxiety exercise, physical activity. You're going to notice I try to say movement more than exercise because a lot of times exercise sounds very intimidating for people who don't often have a workout routine or an exercise routine or have a lot of physical movement in their lifestyle. So we're just trying to move more. That's a lot easier to digest, right? A little bit of movement. So why do we want to exercise and move more? Well, because it's one of the best natural stress relievers out there. Physical activity is literally a natural medicine for stress and anxiety. When you exercise, your body releases chemicals called endorphins. These are your feel goods, right? These are the messengers that are like, oh, hey, we're active. We're feeling good. The body is serving its purpose. It boosts your mood and it makes you feel more relaxed, right? Oftentimes I think about it like this. If you're an anxious human, and I assume you are if you're watching or engaging in this course, our thoughts build up. Think of us as dogs. If a really active dog doesn't get outside for a day, doesn't get to go run off that energy, what starts to happen? They get a little rambunctious. They might start scratching. They might start tearing apart pillows and blankets. Well, we're no different. Those thoughts need a place to go. Our anxiety is just energy. It's pent up energy that needs a place to relieve itself. So if we're not moving physically and having these endorphins kick in and allowing our body to feel purposeful, those thoughts start building up. They build up and they have to express themselves. And oftentimes it's in an anxiety attack because it has to release energy. It's pent up energy looking to release itself. And that's why movement is one of the best ways to help alleviate anxiety, is because of the endorphins, the dopamine, the serotonin. Most importantly, it gives the body that sense of purpose, that sense of relaxation and release that it's doing its job, which helps alleviate the mind. Regular movement. What's that look like? So staying active on a regular basis can help manage overall anxiety levels. Now, it says here it doesn't have to be intense workouts, and that's absolutely true. To start out, I will tell you what I did, and you can adapt it to what is more applicable to yourself. As a former athlete, I started out at an embarrassingly low activity level for myself here. I wanted 3 to 5 days a week for 10 minutes a day. That is not a lot when you compare yourself to past versions of yourself. Like I said, as a former athlete, I had to be at least 1 hour to 2 hours of intense activity. And now 3 to 5 days a week at 10 minutes a day, that's not even showing up. Here's the key to it. It's not about what you were doing in the beginning here. It's about that you are doing it. So if you were able to consistently show up for 2 months, 3 to 5 days a week for 10 minutes a day, you're going to start creating the habit of showing up, the discipline of showing up. That is the most important part of all of this, is creating the habit and the discipline of showing up for yourself. So start small. It might be going for a walk around your neighborhood. It might be going for a couple blocks. It might just be being in your room and doing some stretches. Whatever that looks like for you, as long as you can do that multiple times a week, 10 minutes a day to start out, that is wonderful. And then from there, once you've built that routine and that discipline and the act of showing up, what you do from there is you start building upon that. It goes up to a half an hour, goes up to 5 days a week, those type of things. It's much more achievable. And along the way, remember, you're the artist. You can create a new routine and things you might like to do, whether getting out in nature and going for a walk, depending on the time of year, going for runs, doing yoga, getting into a local gym and lifting, doing at-home workouts through YouTube. These type of things are going to become more natural to you because it's going to be an exploratory process. Gaining control and confidence through the mind and body connection. So what engaging physical activity can also help you with is feeling more control of your mind and your body. Oftentimes, anxiety is happening because there is a disconnect in our limbic system between our mind and our body. And what exercise does is it emphasizes that mind and body connection. When we're struggling, when we're doing things, we have to focus on our breath. We have to come back to center. These active steps help make us feel better. Plus, as you see your fitness improve, it's going to boost your confidence. You're going to start liking the person you see in the mirror. You're going to start working towards a common goal that your mind has always envisioned for yourself. And now your body is going to start matching that version of yourself you've always dreamed of. Remember, it starts slow. Be kind to yourself. This process is difficult. So the kinder you are to yourself, the more progress you are going to see over time. This isn't a sprint. There's no finish line here. This is a forever thing. This is a getting better by 1% each day kind of a thing. Remember, the key is to find an activity that you enjoy, so it feels more like fun rather than a chore. That is very important. You want to be excited to show up. Not every day is going to be exciting. Not every day you're going to be like, I can't wait to work out today. But that's when discipline happens. Discipline shows up when motivation wants to sleep. So create that habit of showing up for yourself, the discipline of it. Find activities you enjoy doing. That way, even when you don't want to do it, you're at least doing activities you know you enjoy. Work with a therapist, work with a coach like myself to help find these things, find patterns and routines and ways and techniques to discover these things, and work with somebody if you have trouble doing that on your own. And it says here, it can be hiking, swimming, dancing, playing a sport. It doesn't matter. If you enjoy it, the more likely you are to stick with it and reap the benefits. Oh, the power of sleep as we are upgrading our lifestyle. What does that look like? Quality sleep is a reset for your brain. Because remember, the body, the brain, the conscious, and the subconscious never rest fully. They are always active somehow. So the quality of your rest is important. So good sleep is like hitting the reset button for your brain. When you do sleep well, your brain gets a chance to reset, process, and recover from the day's stress. It's like giving your mind a fresh start, which can help reduce the feelings of anxiety. So where do you start? I will ask you point blank, do you have a nighttime routine? You might be like, no, I don't. And that's okay. But we can't expect to have quality sleep if we are going to leave it up to chance every single night. We might get quality sleep once in a while, But we want to develop a routine that helps ensure that we are going to get the best sleep possible that night. So that can look like journaling before bed, meditating before bed, practicing mindfulness, shutting screens off half hour to an hour beforehand, white noise, fans, open windows, whatever this is, whatever works for you, but having a routine that sets you up for sleep, that lets your mind, your body, and your soul know it is time to rest. When we're constantly looking at screens, when we're constantly watching TV as we fall asleep, as leading up to the time we are trying to sleep, that's letting our body know it should be awake and alert. We want to do the opposite of that. We want to let it know it's time to wind down. It's time to reprocess. It's time to reset, and it's time to rest. Because sleep deprivation, as you guessed it, if you're looking at the screen, it heightens our anxiety. Because we don't get enough sleep, it is much harder for your brain to handle stress and control emotions. Now, once in a while, you might not get a good night's sleep, and you might have a good day afterwards. You might start thinking, my body only requires 4 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep. But remember, this is compound interest over time, over days, over months, and maybe years at this point. Your body has been deprived of the sleep that it requires to regenerate, to rest, to give you the proper amount of energy and time to do these things. So remember, if you're feeling more irritable, worried, or nervous, looking at your quality of sleep is a great place to start as well. And mixing this in with exercise, your body's going to want to rest. Your body's going to require it after days where your body is feeling purposeful. And remember, when it comes to physical activity, if there's some limitations on movement, disabilities, finding alternative ways to do these things and not just chalking up as I can't do it. Finding alternative ways to do these things is always, always an option. And that's why it's so important to work with people in that industry and in this industry that are certified and understand how they can best help you through that. We touched on it in the beginning. I got ahead of myself, of regular sleep routines, building stability. Having a regular sleep schedule helps your body and mind get into a rhythm. Life's all about rhythm. Life's all about flow. It's like listening to a good song, right? When you're in that state of flow, you can feel it. Well, that's what we want to do with our day, is we want to find our flow. Our morning, we want to have a good morning routine. Throughout the day, we want to be fueling our body with the proper nutrients, with the proper time intervals between. Just like that. And at nighttime, we want to let our body know it's time to rest. Hey, mind, it's time to slow down a little bit. Because going to bed and waking up at the same time each day, it lets the body know what to expect. It creates a sense of stability, predictability. And that can be so calming for your anxiety because it's knowing what to expect. And giving yourself the grace to know that you're allowed to be anxious. Despite doing all of these things, it is still going to pop up. But you are doing the things that are going to help give you the best chance to feel yourself become less anxious. A good little reminder is good sleep isn't just about the number of hours you get, it's about the quality of that sleep. Creating a relaxing bedtime routine, making your bedroom comfortable and sleep friendly. We talked about it. Maybe fans, white noises, windows, those type of things. Avoiding screens before bed can help improve your sleep quality, which in turn will help manage your anxiety. And now the dreaded screen time, social media, the phone addictions, the overuse of screens, sensory overload. I am talking to myself just as much as I am talking to you here. Spending too much time on screens, whether it's smartphones, computers, or TVs, can be overwhelming your brain with information. The constant amount of dopamine hits, almost unwanted dopamine hits, keeps our mind in a constant state of fight and flight. It's in a constant state of receiving information, processing information, and then has to process how do we feel about these things. Well, with each passing Instagram post, with each passing YouTube video, our brain and our body is intaking this information, having to digest just how we feel about it. that is so overstimulating for our mind because we're taking on other people's emotions, other people's perspectives, other people's feelings about these things. When as a replacement, we want to be mindful and see how we feel about things going on in our life, but we're constantly distracting ourselves by social media and screen time. It's a lot for your brain to process, not to mention the bright lights, the constant stream of content, and then this will increase the feelings of anxiety and restlessness. Social media is a comparison trap. It makes you feel like you have to compare yourself to others, seeing the highlight reels of other people's lives, right? That's what it is. It's a highlight reel. A lot of times it's showing you the best parts of people's vacations, the celebrations of graduations, marriage, children, all these things. And if you're not in alignment, if your life is not lined up to there, you're going to start comparing yourself and wishing you were experiencing these things. And if you don't have the things that they have, you're going to feel lesser. Well, it takes a very strong mind and strong person to recognize that we're not in that place right now. We're not living those lives. So when social media is constantly giving us this information to feed, and it's not just one person, hundreds, if not thousands of people and their highlight reels constantly, click of a button to open up and scroll through these things. So remembering that this, for you, isn't about comparing yourself to other people's highlight reels. It's about checking in with yourself, being confident with where you're at, and limiting the amount of social media and screen time you give yourself each day. Because this comparison game can lead to increased feelings of anxiety and inadequacy. This is one I'm currently working on in slow doses. It's called a digital detox, finding that balance. So taking breaks from screens and social media can be beneficial for your mental health. Something I'm doing is I'm trying to, first thing in the morning, at least give myself a half an hour before I look at a screen. So what this might look like for you is having a regular alarm clock, if you can still find them. What this can look like is leaving your phone on the other side of the room, letting your mind and your body and your brain naturally wake up. Ease yourself into the day. This digital detox first thing in the morning we talked about is gradually working through the brain waves to get yourself into the beta brain waves. It's like giving your mind a vacation from the digital world. I don't know if you feel this, but I know I do. When I'm looking at a screen for too long or multiple screens for so long, and I start looking back into the real world, I feel a sense of disconnection. My mind hurts. My brain hurts, I should say. My eyes have trouble focusing on things. So recognizing that a digital detox is very important because this can help break up and reduce your anxiety by allowing you to reconnect with the real world, get in nature, go for walks, do grounding techniques, meditate, practice mindfulness, do yoga, these type of things that are going to help refuel your energy tank and help reduce the anxiety levels and the cortisol in the blood to a more healthy level. Remember, it's all about balance, my friends. It's okay to use screens and social media, but it's also important to be mindful of just how much time you are spending on them because they are affecting your mood and your anxiety levels much more than you think they are. Setting limits and taking regular breaks can help keep your screen time in check and reduce your anxiety. Social interactions and relationships. Since 2020, we had a break in this. We are trying to find different ways to learn how to interact, whether it be through Zoom, whether it be through social media, what it might be. We have to get back into incorporating ourselves in social groups, interactions, relationships. Positive social interactions are boosting your mood and your confidence. Why? Because having good conversations and spending quality time with friends, families, and even pets can lift your spirits. It's getting happiness boost from the people around you and who care about you, surrounding yourself with the right people. This is a great opportunity to take a look at the people you surround yourself with. What type of energy are they passing on to you? Are you interacting with? Are they draining you? Is it constant headaches, constant drama? Start surrounding yourself with the people that are lifting you up, that are supportive, have your best interest in mind, are looking to achieve similar goals or are goal-oriented, just like yourself, that are working through anxiety right now. People that are working through it and not a victim to it. Because when you're able to surround yourself with these type of people, it's going to help reduce these feelings of anxiety because you're going to feel supported. You're going to surround yourself with the right people, the right content, the right friends. It's incredibly powerful tool to work through anxiety. Negative or stressful relationships are going to just increase your anxiety because you're taking on other people's anxiety. Not only is it bad enough that we're at elevated levels of cortisol and our anxiety is running high, but now we're surrounding ourselves with other people that not only cause our anxiety to go higher, but their anxiety is higher. So when we take on these feelings and emotions of other people that are being dumped onto us, it's like carrying a heavy weight on our shoulders. It comes with arguments, misunderstandings, feeling underappreciated. All of these things do not help our level of anxiety, even our sense of worth. So remember, it is incredibly important who you surround yourself with. We want to build supportive connections. It's our safety net. Because creating and maintaining relationships is an art. It takes practice to learn how to cut people off, to limit energy and time to those who aren't good for our mental health. And on the flip side of that, it's incredibly important to be able to surround ourselves and an art on who to surround ourselves that are going to lend an ear to us, that are going to help support us, help lift us up, who we want to show up for and who want to show up for us, because this makes a huge difference in managing our anxiety. It's about having those go-to people who understand and support you. Remember, it's not about the number of friends or the number of social interactions you have. It's the quality that counts. Even a few close, supportive relationships can be more beneficial for reducing anxiety than a large number of superficial connections. And it's okay to set boundaries in relationships to protect your mental health. Let's talk about some stress management. Take a breath. Let's stretch it out a little bit. Take a deep breath with me. As we get into talking about stress management, right? Let's take a deep breath and let's the shoulders relax a little bit. Effective stress management, reducing anxiety triggers. It's learning how to manage stress. It's like having a toolkit to fix a leaky faucet. When you have to handle the small drips of stress in your life, it prevents from them turning into a big flood. Techniques like deep breathing, meditation, and exercise help keep your stress levels in check, which turn into reduced overall anxiety. A great place to start is something called box breathing, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, release for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. You do that for over the course of 2 minutes, and you're going to start resetting your nervous system. It's going to start bringing your baseline back down. You're going to start resetting. You're going to feel calmer. It's not going to cure everything, but these things are going to help break the patterns of your anxiety and help start creating and replacing new ones. On top of the anxiety techniques we already talked about, where it was exercise, where it was quality of sleep, what we're fueling our body with. Because unmanaged stress, I'm sure you can understand what this does. If stress isn't managed well, it's like snowball rolling down a hill, getting bigger and bigger. Unchecked stress can lead to increased stress, increased anxiety, and make you feel overwhelmed, irritable, and worried. So if we just hope our stress is going to go away, if we just hope that, time will heal all things and we're not doing anything about it, your triggers are going to continue going off. It's important to address the stress before it accumulates to this level, because once you're already here, it's really tough to get back. But if you are there, here's a quick a quick little note that helps me. It's ranking. So it's the graded scale system. If you're at a 7, we'll say it's an 8. Over time, you start doing things like breathing, you start meditating, you start maybe going for a walk. Check in with yourself every 10 minutes. I'm a 7.8, 7.4. You're going to start recognizing that it's moving in a direction, a more desired direction, and that you are working through this. It just doesn't feel as fast as you want it to. But being able to check in with yourself and grade these things throughout the time and doing things to help lower that level, that number, it's a great way to help with the stress management. Remember to incorporate regular relaxation and self-care. Build resilience. So incorporate regular relaxation self-care into your routine, like giving your mind and body a regular tune-up. Meditation, yoga, nature walks, putting your feet in the grass, all these things, like even taking a warm bath and reading a book, things that are going to help relax your mind, your body. It's going to be spending time in nature. It can calm you. We are not separate from nature. So the more we're able to get into it, we're able to connect with the earth's frequency, reset our nervous system, is a huge, huge healing process for stress management, anxiety. Because these processes not only help manage current stress, but also help with the buildup of past stress and help remove and eliminate it. Remember, because managing your stress isn't about eliminating it completely. That is a tall task, my friends. That's not always possible, but it's about developing strategies to handle stress more effectively so it doesn't overwhelm and trigger your anxiety. Everyone's stress management techniques can be different, so it's about finding what works best for you. This has been a very informative module. I recommend looking over it when you're feeling anxious to remind yourself of the things that you can do, the food you are fueling your body with, the stress management techniques that you can put yourself into, the exercise routines, the sleep routines. All these things are huge benefits and great reminders, especially when you're having this stress or this anxiety attack or episode or moment. So I highly recommend watching it over again, checking in with yourself. Most importantly, give yourself some kindness, some empathy. You're doing this the best you can, and I'm very proud of you. Catch you on the next one.